BBD, BBB, more like beautiful princess disorder. We may have tried to kill ourselves multiple times, caused chaos in everyone's lives, but it's not our fault. It's our beautiful princess disorder.
Okay, welcome to Beautiful Princess Disorder. I'm Unicole.
I'm Camille.
Where the DSM meets
the DMs.
Okay, so Camille and I are both chronically online, and we also have
borderline personality disorder and probably autism.
Autism.
You know, autism.
So,
borderline personality disorder, which is
worth talking about.
Do you think it's real?
I go back and forth. I do, because I know that CPTSD covers a lot of what happened to me and why I am the way that I am. But also I feel like the way that my trauma expresses is BPD. What do you think?
Do you think that it is possibly the reinvention of
hysteria?
Hysteria.
Probably, but then it's is hysteria real? And it's probably just, again, a response to trauma, right?
Was hysteria a response to trauma?
Probably.
Yeah, they were probably really traumatized back then as well.
Well, I think Freud actually discovered that the reason for most ailments was childhood sexual abuse. And then he covered it up because it implicated too many higher ups. And then he was like, everyone wants to fuck their parents. And that was the cover up.
I never felt compelled to fuck my parents.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've gone in that direction.
It's the ultimate victim blaming.
You want to fuck your dad. I've noticed that a lot of BPD girls online do want to fuck other people's dads, though. So maybe that's...
But again, that's probably a result of childhood sexual trauma, because it's an older man is representing safety. A lot of, when I was in Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous, it was almost exclusively people who had been abused as kids who then saw that as a way to get love. And then they just continued to try to get love that way, because that was how their brain was imprinted onto it.
I wasn't sexually abused as a child, but I feel like that has been sort of the direction of my life.
Older men?
Yeah.
What draws you to them, you think?
To extreme sex and love addiction.
Do you have that?
I don't think I've been diagnosed with it, but that's my behavior pattern.
You identify with more of the hypersexuality, hyper relationship seeking aspect of BPD.
Absolutely. I think that was sort of part of what finally got me pushed into getting diagnosed, because there was a period where I was getting DBT and they did not fully diagnose me with borderline while I was getting DBT, because I hadn't hit that threshold for the unstable relationships and the multiple relationships throughout a lifetime, because I was 20-ish. I think I was 20, and I had one person that I had been dating for a while. But then
you're I'll show you.
I don't think it was that. It just sort of kept happening. I just kept getting in and out of relationships. So it was finally, I think after I tried to kill myself a few more times, and then it was one where it was very obviously because of my boyfriend. He tried to cheat on me and then failed.
Oh, geez.
Not this one. Then I was I have to die. And and because of that, they were yeah, this is definitely borderline behavior in the hospital.
Yeah, when I got diagnosed with borderline, it was after a suicide attempt. And she just looked at me and she was you're going to kill yourself. There's nothing I can do. You have borderline.
But you're not going to kill yourself if you have borderline.
But she was you're just so determined. I'm not
believing in yourself too much.
And I took that power in the opposite direction.
Every nurse I've had that has dealt with me during like suicidal attempts have been like, why? They just don't understand it at all. I think partially because like I've mostly been in DC for suicide attempts. And so I end up with like older Black nurses, and they're always just like very confused as to why I'm in there trying to kill myself.
Totally. My doctor, when I was like, I was unconscious, you know, and like the first thing I saw after trying to kill myself was this doctor looking at me with utter contempt. Like, how dare you waste my time, you young, beautiful girl? You know?
What is going on? Why are you pretty and doing this to yourself? What the hell?
So I know you have a really good relationship with your parents. You tweet about it. Oh, the light died. Sorry.
Okay.
And like, did you, like, for me, I was like highly neglected, and I feel like that's where it came from. Like, cried out and like just maybe not getting my needs met as an infant. Like, do you think you experienced some of those things, or what do you think? Do you think this is like a brain pattern thing, or do you think it's a result of trauma? Like, what do you think BPD is real?
Well, my dad was pretty physically abusive as like when we were younger, and then up to like anger management counseling. So I think that might have been it, and like church trauma, basically being abused.
In Christian, or?
Yeah, I was Presbyterian, and so a lot of that sort of fighting between that. I don't know. I was in Montessori school, so I think that just sort of made me weird to begin with. That's like the starting point for being weird. And then BPD, I think, started because of just the time period and the environment that DC and like being a teenager in the DC area had at the time. Because I was just talking to my friends about how our grades specifically experienced really weird sexual coercion. Everyone I know from that area at the time had been raped around 16.
Wow.
It was like a super common thing is like to go to...
It was like cultural.
Yeah. And it's like as teenagers, and then it gets covered up because everyone's parents are wealthy. So like you're not going to report that.
And even if you do, it would social suicide, right?
Yeah, but it's like that's something that people probably more likely would go through in college, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like the drugs and that specific sort of culture seems more like something you would do in college and then get adapted to, rather than being like on the younger end of being a teenager. I'm not sure though.
Yeah. And then like, were you heavily medicated? Like,
oh yeah, definitely. You?
Yeah.
Did you get heavily medicated?
Not till I was 18, but like when I grew up, like we would just take whatever drugs our parents had.
Okay.
Out of like the cupboards, you know, so I like was experimenting a lot with like Valium and Xanax and things like that, and drank a lot of cough syrup. And then when I got to college, it was like I kind of just was like sort of staving off my depression and like all of my pain, and I was like having this really hopeful attitude, and I was like, well, when I get to college, like I'll be affirmed and it'll all work out, and I'm gonna find really good friends, I'm gonna come out as like bisexual, I'm gonna like live my life, you know. And I got there and it was like nothing worked out the way I expected, and everyone around me was just like drinking themselves stupid, and like no one was caring about anything like that I cared about. And I just sort of like all the years of like sort of pushing off my trauma and my like pain just sort of hit me at once. And so then I was so heavily medicated that I didn't know where I was at any given moment. I was like wandering around. I'd be like, where am I? Like lithium especially like just knocked me off my feet. And I was on so many, they were putting me on antipsychotics, and then I was falling asleep, so they put me on Adderall because I asked for it. They just gave me whatever I asked for, so I was abusing it. And this is why I think like mushrooms are such a good solution, because like if I had been given mushrooms instead of SSRIs and antipsychotics, and I desired to abuse them, I would just become like more enlightened, you know? Yes, like psychedelic shrooms. Like I really think that would have solved all of my problems.
They just give you shrooms
instead of pharmaceuticals. But when were you medicated?
From like 14 to, and then it got really heavy from like 16 to 18. That was when I had basically every single antidepressant every single medication my childhood psychologist was legally allowed to prescribe. So that's why she ended our relationship, because she's like, I tried them all. I tried actually everything that I could do, so it's not working out. And then
you won.
I did not feel like I won. No, I found a good antidepressant that I like recently.
You're still on it?
Yeah. But that's a recent development. I remember figuring out about it a few years ago. I tested it, but then just sort of stopped, and I forget why. I got terrible like brain zaps, but
those are the worst.
I feel like that has worked for me in a way that sort of natural medications have not worked in the past. Like acid I did enjoy doing for like the antidepressant benefits, and they would last for like a month after the trip, and that was nice. But I think that I've started having complications because of that time period.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's always like downsides to doing these things.
It's like pretty big rip in time space.
Yeah,
to depend on it.
No, because I get this sort of like visual hallucinations now that I just would prefer not to. And I think
so. I want to talk about autism too, and you said something so funny about it. But I know that you were self-diagnosed first.
Yes,
and then you were a very big proponent of talking about it online, and I remember just being kind of like in awe of that, because I had never this was not that long ago. It was a couple of years ago, and like the stigma against AFABs or females having autism still was like thicker than it is now, you know. And
do you not feel like it's gotten worse?
No,
I feel like it's gotten worse.
You think people are like, no, girls can't have autism?
Oh. I feel like I've been seeing more like hatred about girls having autism specifically.
I haven't seen that.
I guess
I'm sure it exists.
Maybe it's just because of the Twitter algorithm like getting worse.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, wait, Elon. Jeez. President Elon, First Lady Elon. So yeah, I really like admired that, and then I was like, wow, I can't believe you got diagnosed. And then I think I saw you tweeting like, no, I'm self-diagnosed, like and that really was so validating to me too, because it's like we put all this into the hands of doctors or whatever to understand us in like a hour-long evaluation or whatever, and it's like, how do you not know yourself? Like, if you can just look at the criteria and identify with them, like, how can you not self-diagnose? So that started me on my journey. And then when I did go to get diagnosed, it was basically me explaining why I have autism, and then being like, yeah, but if I had just talked to them and I hadn't explained any of those things, they definitely wouldn't have given me that diagnosis, because of how I communicate.
What? Oh yeah, I guess so.
I've had practitioners tell me like, well, there's no way you have autism.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I'm not legally diagnosed with autism according to the NHS in England. So,
and how did that happen? Like,
I because of the suicide attempt, actually, a few years ago, an autism specialist came in during the attempt and was like, okay, we're going to make this like autistic environment. So you will have like a familiar face waiting for you at the hospital every day. And
you were getting like autistic accommodations.
I was getting accommodations, and that was amazing. That worked out very well for me. And then she did the preliminary screening with me and was like, yeah, you definitely need to go get tested for this. And then 2 years later, because it's NHS, they emailed me like, oh, we're going to do your autism screening now. And my mother got in a Zoom call, which I also think wasn't a like great way to do it. I don't think that doing video calling,
you can capture
it means that you're not seeing the physical person and their mannerisms and like how bad their eye contact is or like how they're like moving weirdly. And like I was wearing a weird outfit underneath, and one of the criteria is like knows how to dress themselves like normally. And I was thinking like, you could not see the clothes that I was wearing like at all. You're not like looking at like how jumbled the choices that I make are on a daily basis, and like that you're not looking at the like people that I'm hanging out with, like you don't know my friends or
you don't know anything about you.
You're interviewing my mother, who's mostly going to see me in a positive way, and also because she has known me my entire life, a lot of my behaviors have been normalized to her. Like she's not picking up on me being like socially awkward in weird ways for other human beings. That where she thinks it's like a failing on my part, like I'm being like intentionally off-putting.
My dad once said, "Will you try to be weird?"
Yeah,
and I was like,
yes,
no, I'm doing everything I can.
I want to be
normal. So then your mom said something that made them think you weren't autistic?
She talked about me being empathetic and good with my little brother, and that was like one of the, I could see how the person doing the test, administering the test, started like changing her tone in response to everything as it was going on and as she was describing like the empathy portion of it, because I think in the UK right now it's still a little outdated. Also, I didn't get to give my whole spiel about how I don't think that empathy is real. So like while they were asking me while I was asking my mother, do you think she's empathetic? I didn't interrupting him. Actually, I don't think that exists. I think that's magical.
I showed up with like a list, like a checklist of all the reasons why I thought I was autistic.
Yeah.
So I think that's how you need to show up. Otherwise, they're just going to write you off, especially as a girl.
Yeah, I know, but
they want, like, they so desperately want to tell you no.
I think there are definitely girls that do get diagnosed with autism in the UK. It just it has to present differently than probably what would be, well, Asperger's is an outdated term, but I think what we would probably have is like a female version of that rather than like.
People are talking about different levels now. So like level
1, level 2, level 3.
Yeah, and I think level 3 is like supposed to be like low support needs or support needs that you can't see immediately.
Yeah, I think the problem is like, what does that count as? Like,
it's so unfair.
I feel like I have very high support needs in a lot of areas that just because I can talk to a certain extent and I spend so much time considering what's going on
and how other people might be feeling and how to like navigate social situations.
And I also think it's not necessarily an IQ thing, but there's like a blocking path. There is something different about the further along that you go on the spectrum that I can recognize because I went to like a school filled with autistic kids. So that was my second high school. It was mostly autistic. And I do recognize that there was a difference between me and someone who would definitely have been recognized as like as like a girl on the spectrum
Yeah.
at the time, there's one like very clear example that I'm thinking about that I went to school with, and she was like obsessed with picking worms up off of the ground and like screaming at people if they would like go near them. And I mean, I think if I ever felt that impulse, I probably would have while I was younger, but it had been sort of trained out of me.
Yeah, that's what's hard for me is like because of the neglect and the trauma that I had, like I turned into like a super massive people pleaser because I was literally going to die if I didn't learn how to communicate and like mask. Right. So it became literally life or death for me. And so I feel like I present a lot less autistic than I would otherwise if I had been understood and supported as a kid.
When you're around other like people that you're like super comfortable with, like partners or deep close friends, do you feel like you become less functional?
I feel like I can't ever unmask unless I'm alone.
Okay.
So I don't do the things that I want to do when I'm around other people, even if it's someone who's really like close to me. But I think probably I feel like like if I feel supported in a lot of ways, I can do more also. So like I don't become less functional if I feel like I'm like emotionally supported because I have like really intense moods and really intense emotions, and I go through, I think I have PMDD now. That's my new that's my new like
DD thing. I want to continue as like birth control patch for it.
Oh,
So
does it work?
yeah. That, I mean, I know there's been a bunch of stuff that's like
Histamine intolerance.
birth control is really bad, but
If it's helping your ups and downs.
if I don't take it, then I know, like my mom's been tracking this for years, and it is like, oh, Camille, every single time you've been hospitalized, you realize that you get your period like in the hospital.
Exactly.
It's like,
Exactly. Every time every time I have a fight with my baby's dad, it's a week before my period. We get in big fights every single month.
Yeah.
And it's always his fault.
Yeah, fair enough.
But then why is it always before my period? It's really unfair.
Have you gone back and like looked at the things that you've got into fights about?
I think it's just him getting on my nerve, and like I think I get more sensitive, where I'm like I need more comforting interactions, and if he doesn't give those to me, then I'm like, you never loved me.
I do all the time. That's how my brain works. I feel like everyone, if you. The love question is very difficult. I can never tell if it's BPD or if it's just like a normal response.
Oh, it's so painful. Like, what about when you're crying and someone's holding you and you can feel them getting kind of annoyed that you're crying, but they would never tell you that, but you can feel it in their emotions and in the way they're touching you, and it just makes you cry even more and they get even more annoyed, and it just goes on and on forever? That's the worst.
I've had a lot of people tell me that they just are done. No, like, that's hanging out with others.
Just tell you the truth straight up. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I think there's like validity in, you know, the idea like, yeah, we're not as autistic. But also I think like I don't want to erase the fact that like, did you see the study that says like there's like we have high levels of DMT, like neurodivergent people have high levels of DMT in our bodies?
Yeah. It's from the P.
Seriously, and you were talking about like seeing things or hallucinating, and like I haven't even done that many psychedelics, even though it sounds like I have. But like the reason why I didn't is because my whole life everyone was like, you don't need to do mushrooms, you don't need to do acid, you're already there. And it's true, I've been tripping out my whole life, and I feel like I do have like hallucinations outside of this reality, and I have to just be like, that's not real, and like focus on reality all the time. And I think that's what gives me the gift of like being interconnected dimensionally to spirits and stuff. Did you listen to the telepathy tapes?
Yeah, I love them.
Oh my God.
They were so helpful.
Validating.
Wait, you're talking about the things that you made?
Oh no, but thank you.
I'm talking about the telepathy training course. I was like, yeah, that was awesome.
Which is making a resurgence right now because there's this podcast that came out called The Telepathy Tapes, and it's all about non-speaking autistic people and how the doctors for years were telling their parents, oh, they're not in there because they don't have motor control function.
Oh, yeah.
And then they figured out different ways of communicating with them, and it turns out they're fully telepathic. Like, they can be like, what am I thinking? And they'll be like, squirrel. Like, they'll know exactly whatever you're, like, literally word for word.
How did they figure this out?
Because they're spellers, so they painstakingly teach them how to spell words by pointing at individual letters, and they break through to being able to communicate with them.
Is this like I've seen a lot of like autistic parents like intentionally make their children like say things using
a board, like it's yeah. And so there's some criticism about it because people are saying like, oh, you're encouraging them,
you're encouraging to behave,
to do something or something. But like the way that, like, now I've read like several accounts of parents who have used it for their children, and they're like, this is a miracle. Why would I encourage them to say things that they weren't saying? I'm trying to actually talk to them.
Yeah, true. But yeah. I just want to have a conversation with myself in very
by making my autistic child like do something, you know? So yeah, it's very interesting. And they've been doing studies for years and years and years, and they just have been getting suppressed, and people don't believe them because it doesn't fit into our worldview of what's possible and what's real. But it's like absolutely documented and verified that these kids are fully telepathic.
I'm trying to remember.
It's a really good podcast
about now. That's interesting.
You should listen to it.
Yeah.
And it's just felt really validating about like how my psychic abilities are connected to my autism too, and to my sensitivity as a neurodivergent person.
I've had very few like moments with telepathy, and at the same time I haven't encountered other people who aren't on the spectrum that have like had. I've encountered a lot of people on the spectrum who also have had absolutely zero experience with that because they're not living in true like reality all the time.
For survival.
I don't know if it's for survival, more just that it's not how their brain functions. They're very they're very considerate of how their body is moving and how they are operating within the physical planes, the point of which I don't think that they're going to like detach. And I do think that maybe because autistic children who can't speak are spending so much time not concerned about their like, well, maybe it is for survival.
Can't.
Yeah,
they can't.
They're not even
tuned into that.
Like, they don't even have to bother with like controlling your like the way that you physically manifest your body and stuff like that. So maybe
they're operating on another level.
I'm trying to find this study about their brains not specifically lighting up in certain areas when the words are attached to, like, our brains for the most part will light up when a word that we associate with a picture comes up. So that's like memetics in general, and but it has been shown that like seriously autistic kids don't have that like connection to actual image and the word itself. I think that the attachment to maybe just language in general is part of the problem.
Yeah, they were saying in the podcast that like these kids are like, why would I talk? Like, it's so clunky. It doesn't really get the full meaning across. Like, telepathy is so much easier and
that's
so much better. We all be telepathic.
I'm
so validated. I'm so validated.
You've been screaming at the internet about this for years.
I mean, like, I'm more autistic than I seem.
Yeah. I know what's going on here. I've been telling everyone what's going on here and you haven't listened.
Everyone just thinks I'm weird. It's so funny. I heard this girl say like about masking, and she was like, I was thinking about it too much, but if you drop the mask for us even 1 second, it's like a subliminal message about how you're not normal.
To drop the mask?
When you like, just for once, even if for like 1 second, you drop your mask and you stop masking because you're like not aware of it. Like people are getting these subliminal messages that you're not normal. It's just so
stop
depressing. It's just so
like sometimes I will sometimes engage with it when I am like around people that I consider to be adults.
Yeah, because
but that's such like a
they kind of enforce
category.
It.
That's such a weird category because who is an adult?
Right, but it's,
my brain picks out like the hierarchy of what's going on, and it's like that's an adult. I have to make sure that I do not behave like myself, but for the most part I think I've completely stopped being concerned with that after finding one friend who is also autistic and like a female and seeing how much masking she was doing. And I was like, oh wow, like I've been fully out here being weird. Like I actually need to go in the exact opposite direction of what you're doing because that looks like it's really bad for you and sucks.
Totally.
So
I had a friend unmask. Like I watched her unmask and she became so much more pleasant. She was so locked up and like worried about her behavior all the time. And then they unmasked and I was like, oh my God. Like, and I just saw like their true personality come out and they were so much more like happy. They were just so much happier and like they were weird, but like weird in like a cute kid way kind of.
Yeah.
Instead of like weird in like a, you know, stuck up, like scared way. And that really inspired me. But it's just hard. Like I feel like I said,
marijuana does it.
Oh, that does help.
Yeah, I feel like weed is like one of the greatest sort of unlocking factors. Charles, who just left, is also definitely autistic. I don't know if we're getting it's smart.
Well, it helps to have people like that in your life.
When he's on weed, it's like dealing with like a very normal person. When he's not, most of the time, well, normal to me.
Yeah.
When he's not, most of the time it's like very rigid and it's like, oh, hello, like I'm a little robot operating.
Yeah. I feel like I can't even smoke around other people because like I've had experiences where I just like become myself and I'll clear out a room, like just info dumping. No, it's just info dumping.
That's like I feel like that's the behavior that most people have. Oh well,
you have to be around autistic stoners to appreciate it. Otherwise, and so I don't know. I feel like I don't feel comfortable unmasking, so I just isolate.
So I do that as well. Yeah, but I thought that was more like being in the city and not wanting to like
go out into the sensory overload.
I don't even know if it's sensory overload. It's more like I don't want to risk getting like harassed.
Yeah,
that like happens pretty regularly outside. So like
catcalling or
there's like groping and other things like that.
What?
Yeah, just
like on the street.
Yeah.
What?
It's in the city.
I've never had that happen to me.
I got harassed today. In San Francisco. You never. I feel like
it's horrible.
I don't even know.
It's not okay.
It's not okay. But it's usually keep happening. So I think I do just like have long periods of extreme like agoraphobia. That's what it is. Yeah. But I feel like it's mostly because of that, or I just really don't like leaving bed.
Yeah, the bed. It's good. And the computer, I love my computer.
Good. The computer's good. I get to be myself on the computer and not have to be my actual self. Really, shower or worry about any sort of physical being involved. It's just me.
You've built quite a following on Twitter of dedicated,
weird
people who love you. And for good reason. You make fire tweets.
I think it's because I also just talk about my actual like experience on there a lot more, like openly than other people will. Which I'm not sure if it's because it's odd and so therefore it gets attention, or if it's because it's honest.
Right. Or both.
Yeah.
Like people look because it's odd and they can't look away because it's honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's with my content too.
Because they start realizing that you guys are experiencing the same things to a certain extent, and like that's to post about it. While I think they would
hide it.
They would typically be embarrassed, and I don't understand the embarrassment thing. I think I've never really understood embarrassment as like a feeling very well.
Yeah.
I've experienced like people trying to shame me.
Yeah.
But also they can just go away.
Pretty much all the negative feelings that I've ever felt around other people, I've realized were their feelings that I took on.
Embarrassed?
Of them being embarrassed, or of them being uncomfortable with me and my light, let's say, you know, and it makes them feel shame, and then they try to shame me. And then like I have felt horrible interacting a lot of times with people who have wanted me to feel horrible. It's almost like you can feel someone want you to feel horrible.
Feel embarrassed.
So I've been like, okay, I feel horrible. But it's like looking back, it's like I never really did. It was like I just was doing what they wanted and feeling their feelings in my body.
What are they doing?
You know, just people being like, you think you're hot shit. Like so many people have said that to me. I'm like, but I am. Like, excuse me.
What do you mean? What's the problem with thinking that? Is that called a healthy self-esteem?
I think I've been around a lot of like, you know, because I was raised by people who treated me with disrespect. Mm-hmm. I've had a lot of people, like close relationships with people who are just so insecure that they're so highly disrespectful towards me. Mm-hmm. And I think I've sort of created this identity that prides myself on like not letting it get to me and like being the light and like thinking I'm gonna like change them and like show them with love, like how wonderful it is just to like, no, you don't need to be like, I can see you're being mean because you're hurt and you don't need to be hurt. I'm not going to hurt you. And then they're like, fuck yeah, you know, and then they like double down on being mean to me, and I'm like, love. And then it's like this horrible cycle. So it's really embarrassing like how long I've been in that cycle and how many people I've made play that sick game with me.
Do you feel like you have like, because their response to it is getting angry, then you will turn it back, and then that cycle becomes like both of you being mean to each other?
Yeah, I've definitely like been violent, and I don't feel like I've ever been mean in the sense of like I don't think I've ever wanted to hurt someone intentionally.
Oh, I definitely have.
I have. I have. But it's usually like when I get to a place where I'm so fucking hurt that it's this desperation of like, it's just a lashing out. You know, it's like if someone's got you cornered in a room and you just punch them in the face, which I've done. You know, like I've physically and emotionally destroyed people. Like I can destroy people with like one sentence. Because the thing is, I try so hard to be kind and nice all the time, but I know what's going to destroy people.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if they push me,
you're sitting there thinking, I will
cut their throat.
Yeah,
you know. And so then that sort of does keep the cycle going for sure.
Because you're better at it.
Yeah, and then it's like, that's who you really are. You're pretending to be nice all the time. It's like, no, dude, like I am nice, but like this was not a nice moment. So yeah, I think I've had like a lot of spiritual bypassing and disconnect from like the two sides of myself. Like I've done a lot of shadow work to try to like get, because like I used to black out, like white out.
Oh yeah, same.
And just rage on people and throw myself out of windows and jump in front of cars and hold knives to myself. I bashed myself in the face with like a giant rose quartz crystal and give myself a black eye once.
Oh my god.
But like
big on the head. Big on hitting my head on things.
That's for real. Yes, that's for real. It's the pain inside your body is so intense. Like it's so hard to hold.
Yeah, I remember ripping my skin off where I hit my head.
Yeah, jump out a window.
I swear, I'm gonna get out a window. How tall?
I'll say I'm exaggerating slightly.
Okay.
I've held myself out of a window, threatening to jump.
Gone through it.
No, it wasn't that high.
Oh,
It was only like 2 stories, and I was like, that was the problem. You know, I wanted to die. So like, I was like, man, if I do have to go through, like, if they keep pushing me to do this, like, I'm just gonna break my ankle, and that's gonna be really annoying. I'm not trying to break my ankle. Yeah. I'm trying to exit the situation forever.
That has been what has stopped me a lot of the times from actually like killing myself, has been the fact that I know I've been hospitalized for like different things so many times at this point.
Yeah.
That I'm like, oh, it's not actually going to kill me. It's just going to create this like
Horrible
period of my life where I have to deal with it, and I'm gonna have to get my stomach comes like not worth.
My belief is that I would just get reincarnated now. Now I believe, like, okay, first of all, it probably won't work. Like, I don't think it's actually possible, because I don't think I'm supposed to die, because obviously I would have.
Yes.
If I was meant to.
Yeah.
And then second of all, if I did succeed, I would have to get reincarnated and start over from square one. Myself again. I'd have to go through it again.
As just a person?
Yeah.
Horrible.
I know.
I would not know.
That's what keeps me from it.
Okay. I don't want a person again. I'm done. I'm done with the person.
That's the whole point, right? And it's like, no, you have to do it until you're done.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you start over. Yeah, that's what stops me.
I don't want to start over with the person having. I know, like, to live this one out.
Absolutely.
Deal with it and then see.
You've gotten this far.
I don't know how that is again. Well, I'm back here.
I don't think I'm coming back here.
I don't know why.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I've been told by my higher ups, by my spiritual guides, that like this is my favorite life I'll ever live in all of my lifetimes, and that I should stop complaining.
As Nicole?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's because of the high contrast.
I do love high.
Which is like our BPT brains,
Yes.
you know, and that's what feels so good.
Yeah.
Of like going from the dark into the light. And the other thing I've heard is that like, okay, so let's say that we do transform this planet into our dream, Unitopia, whatever.
Yes.
Then maybe you would want to come back, because it would not be the same kind of reality at all. Maybe you would never even want to die, because you'd just be like living in paradise by the end of it. It's hard to imagine, but maybe that'll be true. It'll be like a golden age where you're like, actually, this is the coolest.
It's not too bad.
It is and it isn't.
I feel like even if we reach utopia, right, in the world, even if we reach utopia, which is lovely, my favorite. My favorite utopia plannings.
Thank you.
I feel like even if we reach utopia, you're still going to be experiencing like the climate of this planet and the like harsh weather cycles no matter what, and just like people's physical emotions. Like I feel like even if I had the most perfect life, which to a certain extent I have been given like a very privileged pathway throughout life, like being like in a physical body that gets sick and has ailments and these sort of things, it's just not.
Yeah. So
It will never be like a perfect.
the Delulu version of this,
Yeah,
is that we would never get sick.
we would never.
We would never age.
Okay.
And the planet is transforming. Like the climate change is gonna do its thing for a while until every region on Earth is perfectly temperate.
But how could every region on Earth be perfectly temperate? We require the desert for the
The duality.
The rainforest. Yeah, this planet is.
We're like it's the exiting duality in the Delulu.
we need the desert for the rainforest.
Maybe we still have them. They're just not as extreme.
But I would also like.
You like the
I
extreme.
do like the extremes too. Like,
So maybe you would be reborn.
I just don't want to come back here. I think I'm done here.
Yeah, you.
I get it. Like, I really get it. I've gotten the lesson.
I think that was part of like me wanting to kill myself too. Is like I get it.
I got the lesson. I'm bored.
I'm good. It's not fun. Not having a good time.
There are fun things, but also if you get the lesson,
Yeah.
what's the point of continuing with the story?
But the thing is, I learned a lot of lessons since then.
What lessons do you think you learned?
I think that I learned hope.
Did you not have hope like before?
I was like a doomer before that was a word. So
Okay.
I really, really, really believed that like we were,
Climate catastrophe.
yeah, and
Yep.
we were like a parasite. I actually followed this like semi-internet cult back in the day called the Church of Euthanasia. And their slogan was "Save the planet, kill yourself."
Oh, that's because the Charlie free people are doing that now.
It's some
gone in that
It's
direction.
basically like that. It's like don't procreate. There are 5 pillars where I'm not sure if I should say them all, but like sodomy, abortion, cannibalism, because they felt like you shouldn't eat meat, but if you were to eat meat, you should eat human, like
Okay,
human.
so they weren't entirely anti-life in general.
No, they were like
They were
basically
human life.
humans are
Okay.
a plague on the planet.
Okay.
Our procreation and overpopulation is what's destroying the world. And the less of us there are, the better off the planet is. So like that was a very hopeless paradigm that I had, and like a very like self-hating. And then as I've gone down the spiritual journey and like even Wicca and like thinking of humanity as like stewards of the earth and being here and being in our unique position compared to all the other animals of like sort of like higher intelligence, which I don't even totally believe, but like tool using, let's say. I think that we are here specifically to create harmony, and that we have that ability within us, and that we can actually make
Like because of the tool use.
yeah, and like because like if you were to tend to a forest and like pick up the sticks and use them for fire, let's say, like you're doing forest management, like that makes the forest better.
Yeah.
So I do think like, and I used to believe like, oh, humans only make the world worse, but we actually like can make it better too if we tried, but we just don't try. We don't usually try.
I don't know if we make it better or worse.
You think it's just neutral, net neutral?
I mean, I think we change the environment for sure, but I don't think I'm not sure if it's neutral. There's definitely been some like negative impacts from us being here, and then certainly positive impacts. So it's not like, again, it's high contrast. It's high contrast rather than, I feel like every single like every little entity on Earth is experiencing high contrast. And that's what this planet is for, more so than to actually get to.
So as someone with BPD, I think like we experience,
And
maybe the high.
maybe I'm projecting that onto the.
I think you're right. I think you're right. But I do think like people with BPD have perhaps the highest contrast experience.
I think it's also because we're more tuned in, though.
But what do you think the benefit is of that,
Of being more tuned in.
to the high contrast?
Like,
What about it is like good for?
I think it makes you more like helpfully insightful for other people who experience not really the same extreme emotions, but when they go into extreme emotional states, which every person will have.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, I already know.
you're like a guide.
Exactly. I know how to deal with this.
So do you think being helpfully insightful, do you think that that's what really empathy is?
Well, no, empathy is magical.
What is it?
Empathy is not, like, I don't think you can you could not physically prove that empathy exists, right? Because, like, first of all, you can't experience, like, the pain of sorry, I'm not holding a mic, like, the pain of my arm breaking if my arm breaks.
Right.
Right. So you're not actually, and we can't measure how you would feel if my arm broke
Right.
in front of you. And we also couldn't measure, in general, the levels like that.
Yeah.
You can measure fear and things like that, but you could not measure this, like,
Complexity of
deep understanding idea of, like, being able to feel another separate creature's emotions.
Mm-hmm.
But we can. So I don't think it actually exists. I don't think that anyone that claims to not be working in some sort of, like, the world is actually magical pathway should be talking about empathy at all. I feel like they
right. So you
don't deserve the right.
You think it doesn't exist from a scientific
Yeah, exactly.
view, and you have to look at it through, like, a magic
Absolutely,
lens.
yeah.
Got it.
But I just want to take the scientific people
And shake them around.
You're actually. Well, you could believe in magic, actually. Come join me over here. Or stop it.
Yeah.
Cut it out because you don't know what's going on.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I think it's the difference between, like, seeing reality in, like, a material sense or as, like, consciousness as the underlying thing. And so that's a whole other topic.
I have to go and steal a vape from my car.
No, we're all good. Let's wrap up. So Camille's got a vape. So that's the end of the episode, people. Catch us next week.
We will be recording separately. Yes.
Yeah.
I will be in London and you will be here.
Yes. Beautiful princess disorder.
Beautiful princess in order.
Logging out.
Bye.